Welcome back. Climate change isn't just affecting our ecosystem, it's also deeply impacting social justice. It's driving poverty, putting families, especially women and children, at risk, and in many cases leading to family breakdowns, leaving children without parental care. While the global community is still falling short on decisive action, young activists are stepping up to drive positive change, but they often face challenges due to limited support. Today we're joined by Venani Kashiwa, project coordinator for the SOS Children's Villages, to talk about how their work connects with climate change. Very good morning and a warm welcome to you, Venani.
Good morning to you too, and thank you very much for being here.
Much obliged, much obliged. I think from the intro, one thing's, well, climate change. The other part is family breakdown. Where is the connect exactly there?
So we have come to realize that, there are studies that have shown that climate change also leads to a breakdown in families or livelihood, and this hence why the Eco Champion project really came about from SOSI. But the reason why it is of this case is also that when it comes to, say, for instance, like droughts, our parents are the ones that sacrifice their food and they give the kids to eat, and then what happens to the parent? They become malnutritioned and then they end up dying, or some other factors such as flooding, drought. Usually the parents are at risk of this. This leads to a breakdown of families, and families end up also migrating, and in the process of migrating from one place to another, children get lost. We have seen this, we have had cases about this, and this is also many of the causes of climate change. It just does not affect the economy in terms of food security, but also leads to a breakdown of families.
The world over, we get to read about and see stories of young people that have taken on the mental responsibility of fighting climate change. What is your story as far as that is concerned? Is it something that you just woke up feeling like doing, or what inspired it?
I actually have a background in the agriculture, so my inspiration is coming from a food security aspect, just to ensure that the livelihoods of the people that we live with are secure in terms of trying to find ways. I mean, Namibia is experiencing one of these worst droughts, and we are also experiencing climate changes. Imagine today morning we woke up, it's cold. Where have October ever been this cold?
Absolutely,
ever?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that we are looking at. But this, there's a food security or food system aspects to it that help us then see that a lot of people are affected in terms of climate changes. We can then not grow the food that we're growing. So are we tending to look into fortified foods, for example? Are we tending to change the way, drought-resistant seeds, or change the way that we actually do our cropping, moving from monocropping to maybe intercropping or regenerative agriculture, and all those practices that we are looking at.
How do people, especially in the rural areas that you perhaps have an opportunity to touch base with, do they understand, what climate change is? I mean, if you talk to the elders, they usually say by now it's supposed to be raining. There are those who even go as far as saying that God is angry, the ancestors are angry. There's something that we're not doing right in terms of, paying respects to them. Hence, there's no rain. Hence this drought that we're facing. But how do you break down that message and break down some of those misconceptions around the reality of climate change?
I think our biggest challenge as climate activists is where we tend to advocate and raise awareness. So I think we first need to go back to our elders and back to our villages and try to either raise awareness in different ways. Back in the days, they used to do this little storytelling shows or acting that we do. We could do some of that. One of them, in another way that we can actually also do it, is just doing it in their native languages. We speak about climate change in Bantuk, we speak about climate change, we speak at these forums about climate change, but we don't speak in the native languages. We're just speaking, between me and you, we're speaking English right now.
I was even thinking climate change is in my language, I can't.
Do you know what climate change is in your language? So we need to we need to customize or contextualize our messages to fit the audience that we are reaching out to. But let's not leave other people behind, the people in the rural villages, the marginalized community, because this fight is for all of us together, community. So the misconception of that. But one thing before I go to that, one thing I've also realized that our elders, they might not possibly understand climate change and have the conception of maybe, like you said, maybe they've angered the gods or whatever it is they believe into. But they have changed some ways of how they do things in compared to the past. Some of them have started bringing in different vegetables instead of just plowing per millet, and which is mango now, or sorghum. They have moved to vegetable farming, household gardens. I've seen a lot of household gardens in the north. So those are some of the things, but it might not that they understand what they are doing, but they're still doing it. Yeah.
So you're part of the Eco Champion Project. Yes. Talk to us about what the philosophy around the project is.
So the Eco Champion Project is a SOS project. Many of us, as we hear SOS, we hear about foster home, rehabilitation, taking care of kids. But SOS is really broad. And this is one of its projects that it has decided to venture into, just so that it can also position itself in the climate space, because SOS does not have footing in the climate space. This is its way of finding its footing. As other institutions, for example, like UNDP, for example, they have that in their pillars. This is what SOS wants to do in their strategic outline moving forward. Because of climate change, disconnecting families, and SOS takes care of families, family strengthening. So the Eco Champion Project was then brought upon, and Namibia happens to be lucky to be one of the 6 selected countries for this cohort. We were amongst Nigeria, Jordan, Somalia, Sierra Leone, Uganda. So we have been selected for this cohort, and this cohort was a call that came out in July. The applications opened. So they were targeting audiences between the age of 16 to 26, from marginalized backgrounds, should be passionate about climate change and certain SDGs that fit into the goals of climate. So the Eco Champion Project is then to help these young activists to be their better selves by giving them mentorship, capacity, and just even learning how to pitch a project or proposal at the end of the day. So the Eco Champion Project is very important, and to me as well, it's like my dear baby, because I'm running with this project and I'm running with this youth. We had over 110 applications.
Wow. From across the country.
From across the country. The call was open to everybody between that fit the criteria, of course. We were targeting the younger generation also, because who are them? Who will be on Earth when we are gone? They would be the ones that will be taking care of the Earth. They would be taking care of the parents that are there. So they were our target groups. Out of the 110 applications, we screened down to 94 applications that were eligible. So usually you also find those people that take chances that were beyond the ages that applied, It's okay. But we then screened down to a 94, whereby we then interviewed about 15 candidates, and then out of the 15, only 4 made it out. So this is also a gender responsive project. It is targeting women, mostly. So out of the 4, 3 are women, and we have 1 guy to represent us. We have the guys from Kunene region, which I really think he fits the context in terms of Kunene being one of the most affected areas in Namibia in terms of climate change, but also his project is such a brilliant project, because I feel like he's going to do awareness to his communities back then.
If you may just maybe briefly touch on what makes his project so unique.
This project is very unique because it's one of the first projects that is going to then build capacity building for this, take them to Kenya, which is in November. They're going to go there, they're going to learn, they're going to be there for a whole week, learn, and then they're going to get spark funding at the end of the project to implement their initiatives. So I think that's what makes this project one of the most unique projects that we have.
And hopefully after the funding, I'm assuming they'll also still have the mentorship along the way.
Yes, so the mentorship is going to go all the way, starting from when they come back to Kenya until the end of next year. They're also going to co-author a paper together, which will then be presented to any of the climate summits that are coming. So we are still looking at which one, be it COP or whatever climate it is that is coming up, so that the paper can be presented by the youth there, to see that these are our problems, this is what we are trying to do, and these are how we are trying to solve the climate issues that the country is experiencing. Yeah.
Those who are part of the project now were successful to be successfully selected. What has their feedback been so far when you have chats with them? How has their life changed in terms of their outlook, in terms of climate change, and just, this opportunity to go to other countries and learn from their peers as well?
So the team that I'm working with is such an enthusiastic team. They are very excited to have gotten this opportunity. They are very excited. They want to start. They are ready to pump. But obviously they can't start before the Kenya summit because they have to go for training and everything. So they are really ready to get on the ground and start running. And I'm really excited to work with them. I feel like we are going to have a great adventure together throughout because I'm with them until the end of next year.
All right.
Yeah.
Lastly, what's your vision for fighting climate change, and how do you think young people can be incorporated? And like you rightfully said, young people are the future. They're the ones who will inherit the earth after we return back to dust, if I may put it that way. But what's your vision in terms of youth participation, active youth participation, young people willingly taking on that mantle of saying this is also our responsibility. We'll pick up from where those that came before us have left.
Yeah. My vision, or my biggest vision, is for young people to be involved in the policy making of climate policies. It's very adamant that we are there and our voices are heard. Young people, especially women, let me put it that way as well, that our voices are heard and that we can help formulate the policies, because I don't want to sit in a room whereby policies are benchmarked and not fitting Namibia's criteria just because it's coming from a certain aspect or the other side of the world to here.
So we have to tailor-make our
We have to tailor-make them, but we also have to have the youth representation in the policies, because then at the end of the day, what's the point of making a policy for me and you when we return to dust and then the other people are not going to benefit from that policy? So that's my biggest vision, first of all, that we have. And then maybe we can look at mitigation strategies, because we always talk about adaptation. But there's also mitigation. Let's look at that. Just trying to find ways around it. So I think those two will be my main. But on the other side, besides having the stricter part, let's have fun, as climate activists. Go out there. Doesn't necessarily have to be a platform. Use your social media. A lot of us are on social media.
Absolutely.
Use your social media to create awareness. You don't need $150,000 to create awareness on social media. You can literally just do it there. Speak to the people that believe it. When we go to our villages, let's speak to our grandparents. Get the message out there. Continue having these conversations.
Absolutely.
I think this is how we'll come to bringing the change that we want to see.
Awesome stuff. Nani, it's been a great pleasure talking to you, and I wish you and the team that you are leading all the best all the way to Kenya, and hopefully once they come back, they'll be adding much needed value in this collective fight against climate change. Highly appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And that was Nani Kashiwa, the project coordinator for the SOS Children's Villages, but also part of the Eco Champion project that is aimed to support local young activists in the fight against climate change.